Mustafizur Rahman being forbidden to play the IPL by the BCCI, who in essence told Kolkata Knight Riders to release him despite the fact that he was picked up in the auction, has kicked up an absolute storm that could very well hamper the ICC T20 World Cup in India, because as things stand, Bangladesh have refused to travel to India and are trying to come up with a solution that would see their matches being played in Sri Lanka. Whether or not that can happen is anyone's guess at this point in time. But what is noteworthy is that so far a lot of the talk about this issue has come from either the Indian or Bangladeshi side. Now though, one prominent current player has spoken up in support of Fizz and against those who are involving politics into the sport, and that person happens to be Moeen Ali, who has of course played a lot of cricket in the IPL and up till last year was part of KKR, the same franchise that Fizz was snapped up by before of course they were forced to release him. So what did Moeen have to say? Well, he delved upon a lot of topics, but basically a lot of it stemmed from of course the fact that Fizz was a bit unfortunate, the fact that things the way they were going on shouldn't be going on, and he also questioned the ICC in general. So let's take a look at what he had to say, and trust you me when I say some of these words are explosive to say the least. He started off by saying that, look, the game is already in danger with such things. By such things, he means political issues. He says, and then what happened with Mustafizur, something isn't right. It can't go on like this. Basically, what he's saying is that there's an intersection or an intertwining of political interests and political issues into the sport, which according to him, he feels isn't right and can't go on like this. But again, as I said, it went one step further because he did support Mustafizur and did end up questioning, as I said, the authorities. But before that, what he also said, he said very clearly that this entire issue, it's a very rubbish thing to do, because this is what he had to say. He said that Bangladesh isn't going to India and they stopped the IPL broadcast. I'm not blaming Bangladesh, but it's a very rubbish thing to do. Basically, and what he's saying here when he says it's a very rubbish thing to do is he's not saying that Bangladesh banning it is bad or Bangladesh threatening not to go to India is bad. He's saying the entire situation whereby you're having to resort to such things, whether it be the BCCI's decision to force KKR to release Mustafizur or the retaliatory action that's come from Bangladesh, he said all of this is a little bit rubbish. That's what he's saying. He's not taking sides here entirely. He said that, look, whatever is happening shouldn't be happening. It's all a bit rubbish. And this is where he really came down hard on the ICC, and not just the ICC, but even the two other members of cricket's big three. This is what he had to say. He said that, look, the ICC is normally never like that. Everyone knows who runs it. Shouldn't Australia and England play a role? But no one says anything. And this is an interesting point, really, because he's touched upon a nerve, a raw nerve, that many people will perhaps not outwardly acknowledge. When he's saying everyone knows who runs the ICC, he's of course referring to the fact that the head of the ICC is an Indian, and that India as the financial nerve center of the sport is very much calling the shots. But as what he's saying is that we know the ICC isn't like that in the past. And again, he's not entirely wrong. Previously, the ICCs have been very stringent when it comes to such things. Just for an example, when Australia said in '96 that we don't want to travel to Sri Lanka to play a game, the ICC told them you either play it or you forfeit. They forfeited. In 2003, when England didn't want to travel to Zimbabwe to play Zimbabwe, the ICC said either play it or forfeit. England forfeited. These new arrangements, and I think that's what he's talking about, the hybrid model kind of thing. That is what he's saying is what's new. And should Australia and England talk about it? Perhaps. The fact that they're not, and that is where he's saying that no one says anything, is what's led to this sort of a situation whereby it is a bit messy. Let's be very fair. If you didn't want a Bangladesh player in the IPL, then you should have either barred them beforehand, or you could have told the franchises, listen, the players are there, but given how sensitive things are, perhaps not best to bid on them right now. No one would have bid. The entire situation would have been very seamlessly averted. The fact that it wasn't, the fact that it needed a player to get picked, then a political storm to be kicked up because of it, then pressure on the BCCI from social media to actually force the franchise to do something they would have probably not wanted to do. It's a very messy situation. And then to make things worse, Bangladesh's escalation is threatening the T20 World Cup that is set to take place in India. So all in all, not a very happy trade-off by any means. Because again, We're less than a month away from the T20 World Cup. The focus should be on how it is that squads are looking, what is the preparation. Instead, we're caught up in more of this, an off-field drama that, truth be told, has more roots in politics than it does in the world of sport. But what are your thoughts on the matter? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget, as always, to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, follow us also on social media. We're on Instagram, X and Facebook, and stay tuned for more such updates from the world of sport.